Fraction division. Now we're going to start with division of a whole number by a fraction. And the way we do a whole number to be able to divide it by a fraction, what we could do is, let's say you have a number a. This is the same as saying a over 1, so that we can work with just fractions. So for example, let's say we have 8. This is going to be the same as saying 8 over 1, because when we take 8 and divide it by 1, it's still 8. So that just makes it into a fraction. So for this first part, instead of doing 1 divided by 3/10, we're going to say 1 over 1 divided by 3/10. And the way you do this is, instead of we're dividing, we're going to turn this into a multiplication problem. The way you do this is by saying you put your first fraction, 1 over 1, and you multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. And the reciprocal of a fraction pretty much just means that you flip the numerator and the denominator. So that means it's going to be 10 over 3. And then from here, we just multiply across. 1 times 10 is 10 over 1 times 3 is 3. Pretty simple. So here again, we write 6 over 1 instead of just 6. So we can work with fractions. Now we rewrite this. 6 over 1 multiplied by the reciprocal of the second fraction. So we flip it, 2 over 1. And this becomes 12. Well, 6 times 2 is 12 over 1 times 1 is 1. So our final answer is going to be 12. We're going to rewrite this whole number as a fraction. So 4 over 1 multiplied by the reciprocal, which is, we'll flip it around, 6 over 1. So now we multiply across. 4 times 6 is going to be 24 over 1 times 1 is 1. So our final answer is 24. 3 over 1 instead of just 3. So now we write 3 divided by 1 multiplied by the reciprocal. So 4 over 2. And that's going to give us 3 times 4 is 12. And then 1 times 2 is 2. So this is going to give us 6 over 1, which is just 6. Do a division of a fraction by a whole number. So again, we're going to just add a 1 to the whole number. So 3 over 1 instead of 3. And we do the exact same thing. 2 over 4 multiplied by the reciprocal of the second fraction. So it was going to be 1/3. That's a weird 3. So 2 times 1 is 2. And 4 times 3 is 12. So this becomes 1/6. Again, let's change the 8 to a 8 over 1. So 1 over 5 times the reciprocal. So we're going to switch it. 1 over 8. And this is going to be 1 times 1 is 1 over 5 times 8 is 40. That's our final answer. Let's rewrite this. 6 as 6 over 1. Now 1 over 6 times the reciprocal of 6 over 1 is 1 over 6. So this becomes 1 times 1 is 1. 6 times 6 is 36. That's our final answer. Now 6, we're going to change it to 6 over 1. Now 5 over 8 times the reciprocal of 6 over 1 is 1 over 6. So 5 times 1 is 5. And 8 times 6 is 48. Now this is just division of fractions. So we don't have to convert any whole numbers to fractions. All we do is we take the first fraction, 1 over 4, and we multiply it by the reciprocal, which is 10 over 9. And it's going to be a 10 in the numerator, because 1 times 10 is 10. And 4 times 9 in the denominator gives us 36. I'm not going to do the reductions, but you can reduce that. So again here, 5 over 9 multiplied, that's our first fraction, multiplied by the reciprocal of the second one, 2 over 1. And it's going to give us 10 over 9. Because 5 times 2 is 10, and 9 times 1 is 9. Take our first fraction, 1/3, multiply it by the reciprocal of the second fraction, 9 over 6. So that's going to give us 1 times 9 is 9, and 3 times 6 is 18. That reduces to 1/2. So 8 over 10, you take your first fraction, 8 over 10, multiply it by the reciprocal of your second fraction. So instead of 2 over 5, we're going to write 5 over 2. We just flipped it. 8 times 5 is 40. 10 times 2 is 20. That gives us 4 halves, which is equal to 2. This is just the reduction. So 3/8, our first fraction, multiplied by the reciprocal of our second fraction. So instead of 7/8, it's 8 over 7. Now, 3 times 8 is going to be 24 over 8 times 7. That's going to be 56. And that is division of fractions.